Part 1, the diary. I don't even know where to start. My hands are still shaking as I type this, and I keep asking myself if I should even share it. But I can't carry it alone anymore. 3 years ago, my older brother, Adam, died. We were told it was an accident. He was driving home late at night, apparently lost control, and crashed into a tree. He was 28. I was 24. I remember that night like it's etched into my bones. The phone call, my mom's scream, my dad going completely silent. Everyone kept telling me the same thing. It was just a horrible accident. I believed them, or maybe I just needed to. Adam and I weren't as close in those last couple of years as we used to be. He'd moved out, got his own place, and we only saw each other during holidays or when he randomly stopped by. But growing up, he was everything to me, my protector, my role model, my best friend. After the funeral, I couldn't go into his apartment. I don't know why. Maybe I was scared of seeing him in all the little things he left behind. My parents hired someone to clean it out eventually. Most of his stuff went into boxes and ended up in my parents' attic. And that's where this story really begins. A week ago, I went to help my parents clean out the attic. They're getting older, and the house feels too big for them now. We were going through boxes of old Christmas decorations when I found a plastic container labeled Adam. I don't know what I expected to find. Maybe his old clothes, video games, or random junk. But when I opened it, it was like stepping into his life. Photos of us as kids. A baseball glove he used in high school. A watch I'd seen him wear 100 times. And then, at the very bottom of the box, there was a small, black, leather-bound notebook. No title. No log. Just plain and a little worn out like he'd carried it everywhere. I don't know why, but I instantly knew what it was. It was his diary. I froze. Adam was never the type to journal. Or at least I didn't think he was. But there it was, real and solid in my hands. I sat on the attic floor, surrounded by dust and cobwebs, and started flipping through it. The first entries were normal, boring even. Work sucks today. Can't wait for the weekend. Had dinner with mom and dad. They asked if I'm seeing anyone. Awkward. It felt strange reading his private thoughts, but also comforting, like hearing his voice again. But as I kept going, the tone of his entries shifted. They became darker. About 2 months before his death, Adam started writing about someone he called H. At first, it seemed like H was just a friend. He wrote about meeting them for coffee, late-night talks, stuff like that. But he never explained who H actually was. No full name, no details. Just H. Then there were the entries about feeling watched. It's happening again. Same car parked outside for 2 days. Either I'm paranoid or someone's following me. I can't talk about this to anyone. If they find out I'm writing it down, I'm done. I read that line at least 10 times. What did he mean? If they find out I'm writing it down? I couldn't stop reading. The last entry in the diary was dated the night before he died. It wasn't long, just a few lines. Tomorrow is the day. If anything happens to me, it wasn't an accident. I hope someone finds this. That's it.
No explanation.
No context.
No signature.
My blood ran cold. I kept staring at those words until the attic felt like it was closing in on me. I didn't even realize my mom had been calling me from downstairs. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Adam, about that last entry. What was going to happen tomorrow? Who was H? And why did he sound like he knew something was coming? I told myself maybe he was just depressed. Maybe he was spiraling, imagining things. But then, Why did he write, "If anything happens to me, it wasn't an accident"? I needed answers. The next day, I went back to my parents' house and searched through every box of his stuff, hoping I'd find another notebook, another clue. Nothing. So I started rereading the diary, looking for anything I missed. That's when I noticed something I hadn't seen before. On the very last page, written faintly in pencil, there was an address.
No explanaschen.
No name, just an address in a part of town Adam had no reason to visit. And I don't know why, but I decided I'm going there. I don't know what I'll find, but I can't unsee what I read. And if my brother really didn't die by accident, I have to know the truth. Part 2, Secrets in Ink. I didn't go to work the next day. Couldn't. I kept staring at that address I'd found scribbled in Adam's diary. No name, no context, just a set of numbers and a street I'd never heard of in a part of the city I rarely go to. I plugged it into Google Maps. It was a 40-minute drive from my apartment, in an older part of town near some rundown warehouses and small apartment complexes. Why would Adam go there? The more I thought about it, the more my chest tightened. I couldn't just ignore it. By noon, I was in my car driving toward that address. The neighborhood was off, not quite abandoned, but not somewhere you'd casually visit. Cracked sidewalks, faded graffiti, rusted fences. When I pulled up to the address, I realized it wasn't a house or an apartment. It was an old, one-story commercial building with boarded-up windows and a faded sign that just said, Miller and Son Storage. It didn't even look open anymore. I sat in my car for a few minutes, trying to work up the courage to go in, when I noticed something strange. There was a black sedan parked across the street. It wasn't anything flashy, but it stood out, too clean for the area, and I could swear someone was sitting inside. My gut told me to leave, but curiosity won. I got out of my car and walked up to the building. The front door was locked, but there was a buzzer. I pressed it. No answer. I was about to leave when I heard a voice behind me. "Can I help you?" I nearly jumped out of my skin. It was a man in his 50s wearing a dirty work jacket. He was carrying a box of tools and eyeing me like I didn't belong. I was looking for Miller and Sons," I stammered. He frowned. "You're about 3 years too late. We shut down." I hesitated, then blurted out, "Did you know Adam? Adam? Last name?" His face changed. Not recognition exactly, but something. "Never heard of him," he said quickly. Too quickly. "You should go." Before I could say anything else, he walked away and disappeared around the corner. That was enough for me. I got back in my car and drove off. But as I glanced in the rearview mirror, my stomach dropped. The black sedan that had been parked across the street, it was following me. At first, I told myself I was being paranoid. Maybe it was just some random driver going the same way. But every turn I made, they made too. After about 10 minutes, I sped up and took a sharp right onto a side street. So did they. That's when panic set in. I floored it, weaving through back roads until I finally lost them, or at least I think I did. I didn't stop driving until I was in a completely different part of the city. I pulled into a gas station, parked in the back, and sat there shaking. What the hell was I getting myself into? When I finally got home, I locked the doors and closed every curtain in my apartment. Then I pulled the diary back out. If Adam left that address, it had to mean something. I started rereading every single page, looking for connections I'd missed. And that's when I saw it. On the page right before the final entry, there was a small doodle in the corner. It looked like numbers, code maybe, April 17th, 23. That was it. Was it a date? A locker number? A combination? I flipped through the rest of the diary and noticed something else. A name.
Él.
Another letter. Like H. In one entry, Adam wrote, "Met with L again. She thinks I'm in over my head. She might be right. Who was L?" At this point, I felt like I was going crazy. I didn't want to tell my parents yet. They'd just tell me to drop it. I couldn't talk to my friends. They'd think I was spiraling. So I did the only thing I could think of. I called one of Adam's old friends. His name's Eric. They'd been close for years, though I hadn't seen him since the funeral. When I told him I found Adam's diary, he went silent for a long time. Then he said, "You shouldn't be reading that." "Why?" I asked. Another long pause. "Because Adam didn't want you involved." My throat went dry. Involved in what? Look, I don't know the full story, but Adam, he was dealing with some dangerous people. You don't want to get mixed up in that. My heart was pounding. "Do you know who H or L are?" He sighed. "No, and don't ask me again." Then he hung up. That night, I sat in the dark with the diary in my lap, wondering what the hell my brother had gotten himself into. That's when my phone buzzed. A new text from an unknown number. "Stop reading that diary." I don't even know how long I sat frozen, staring at those words. I hadn't told anyone except Eric that I found the diary. How did they know? And more importantly, who the hell are they? Part 3, pulling the thread. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound outside made me jump. Every set of headlights passing my apartment made my heart race. That text, "Stop reading that diary," kept replaying in my head. I thought about going to the police, but what would I even say? "Hey, my dead brother left a diary, and now someone's texting me creepy warnings?" They'd think I was paranoid or making it up. So instead, I did the stupidest thing I could have done. I kept digging. The next morning, I drove back to my parents' house and went through the rest of Adam's stuff. I found old receipts, junk mail, even some photos I'd never seen before. In one of them, Adam was sitting at a bar with two people. A guy I didn't recognize, and a girl. Something about her stuck out. She had a small tattoo on her wrist, a simple outline of a bird. I flipped back through the diary. "Elle has been trying to talk me out of this. She says it's too dangerous. She might be right, but it's too late to back out now."
Él.
Was that her? I spent the next few hours digging online. I searched Adam's socials, old tagged photos, anything. And then I found her. It took forever, but I stumbled across a photo on Instagram. Someone had tagged Adam in an old group picture from 2 years ago, and there she was with that same bird tattoo. Her name was Lena. It took me another 2 hours to work up the courage, but I finally DM'd her. "Hey, I'm Adam's brother. I need to talk to you. It's about him." I didn't expect her to reply, but she did, and fast. "Where did you get this number?" "It's me. My name. Please. It's important." Long pause. "Meet me tomorrow. Noon. Cafe on 5th and Main. Come alone." I almost didn't go, but I had to know. The next day, I got there early. It was a small, quiet cafe. I sat at a corner table, hands sweating, staring at the door. When she walked in, I recognized her immediately. Same tattoo, same face from the photo. She looked around, spotted me, and sat down. "You shouldn't have contacted me," she said immediately. "I need answers," I said. Lena sighed, like she'd been expecting this conversation but hoping it wouldn't come. "What was Adam involved in?" I asked. She hesitated. You don't want to know. Yes, I do. She glanced toward the window, scanning the street like she was looking for someone. Finally, she leaned in and whispered, Adam was mixed up with people he shouldn't have been. He thought he could handle it. He couldn't. Who? Who are we talking about? She shook her head. I can't say their name. I won't. But they don't just let people walk away. My stomach sank. Are you saying they killed him? She didn't answer. But she didn't have to. Before I could ask more, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and I swear all the color drained from her face. I have to go, she said, standing up. And you need to stop this. Now, for your own safety. Wait. But she was already gone. I sat there frozen, staring at my coffee. For the first time, I truly believed it. Adam hadn't died in an accident. He'd been killed. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about Lena's words. They don't let people walk away. Who was they? And what the hell had Adam gotten himself into? I opened the diary again. This time, I started looking for patterns. And that's when I noticed something strange. Every few entries, Adam had circled random letters. At first, I thought nothing of it. But when I wrote them down in order, they spelled something. Locker 417. My hands were shaking as I flipped to the page with the code I'd seen earlier. April 17th, 23. Locker 417. Combination 23? Was that what it meant? It made sense. But where? Storage? A gym? A train station? Then I remembered the address from part 2. The old storage building. Miller and Sons Storage. I didn't even hesitate. The next morning I drove back there. The black sedan was gone. The building still looked abandoned. But around the side, there was a rusted door with a keypad. I tried the code. April 17th, 23. There was a loud click. The door opened. Inside, it was pitch dark and smelled like mildew. I used my phone's flashlight to navigate the narrow hallway until I found a row of lockers. Most of them were empty, but there it was, 417. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd pass out. I opened it. Inside was a small duffel bag and a single envelope. On the envelope, in Adam's handwriting, were 2 words, "For my brother." My hands shook as I ripped it open. Inside was a letter, and what I read made my blood run cold. If you're reading this, it means I didn't make it.
I'm sorry.
I never wanted to drag you into this, but you deserve to know the truth. They're going to come for me. Maybe for you too. Don't trust anyone. Especially not. The letter ended there. Torn. The rest of the page was missing. I didn't even get the chance to process it because that's when I heard it. Footsteps. Inside the building. Getting closer. Part 4, The Truth That Burns. I don't know how I didn't pass out. The sound of those footsteps echoing in that dark hallway froze me in place. For a second, I actually thought my heart stopped. Whoever it was, they were coming straight toward me. I didn't even think. I grabbed the duffel bag, stuffed the torn letter in my jacket, and slipped out through the side door, sprinting to my car like my life depended on it. When I started the engine and looked back, I swear I saw someone standing in the doorway of the building, watching me. I drove like a maniac, not stopping until I was back in my apartment. Once I locked the door, I finally dumped the contents of the duffel bag onto my kitchen table. There were 3 things inside. 1. A thick stack of cash, maybe $10,000. 2. A prepaid phone still sealed in its packaging. 3. A small flash drive. No explanations. I plugged the flash drive into my laptop. It was encrypted. No photos, no videos, just one file titled H, but I couldn't open it. That night I barely slept. I kept reading and rereading Adam's torn letter, hoping I'd somehow make sense of the missing part. Don't trust anyone, especially not who? The police? Our parents? Someone I knew? My brain wouldn't stop spinning. By morning, I couldn't take it anymore. I needed answers. So I did something I swore I wouldn't do. I called my parents. I tried to play it casual at first, but my mom heard it in my voice. "You sound off," she said. I've been going through Adam's things. Did you know he kept a diary?" Dead silence on the other end. "Why are you digging that up?" my dad finally said. His voice was sharp, colder than I expected. "I just need to understand what happened to him," I said quietly. Another long silence. Then my mom said, "Come over. We need to talk." That alone made my stomach twist. When I got to their house, they were sitting at the kitchen table like they'd been waiting for me. No hugs, no small talk, just my dad staring at me with that stone face he used to get when I was a kid and in trouble. "Where did you get that diary?" he asked. "In Adam's stuff." "Why?" "You need to stop," he said. "Right now. For your own good." My blood ran cold. "Why? What do you know?" My mom reached for my hand, tears in her eyes. "There are things about Adam's life you don't need to know," she said. "It won't bring him back." I yanked my hand away. "He didn't die in an accident, did he?" They didn't answer. They didn't have to. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the diary at them. But instead, I said the only thing that came to mind. "Who's H?" That made my dad flinch. Just for a second. But I saw it. "You went too far," he muttered. "You shouldn't have found that." I stormed out. I didn't know what was worse, the fact that my parents knew something, or that they were still hiding it. That night, my phone buzzed again. Same unknown number as before. "Last warning. Stop digging or you'll end up like him." My hands went numb. I didn't reply. I needed help. But not the police. Not my parents. Not anyone I knew. So I did the only thing I could think of. I called Lena. When she picked up, I blurted out everything. The duffel bag. The flash drive. The torn letter. The texts. She was silent for a long time. Finally, she said, "Meet me. Tonight. Same cafe." When I got there, she was already waiting. "You're in over your head," she said before I even sat down. "They're watching you. Probably listening too. You need to get out." "Who are they?" I demanded. She hesitated. Then she leaned in and whispered, "Do you think Adam just magically had 10 grand in cash? That flash drive? He was running information. For people who make people disappear when they get in the way." My chest tightened. "What kind of information?" "Names, accounts, deals, things that could ruin powerful people. He thought he could use it as leverage. It got him killed." I pulled out the torn letter. "Then who was he warning me about? Who can't I trust?" She stared at it for a long time. Then she said something that nearly made me vomit. "It was probably your dad." I almost laughed, but she didn't look like she was joking. "Adam told me once," she said quietly. "He thought your dad was in deep with them. That's how Adam got involved in the first place. He was trying to protect you and your mom." I wanted to scream that she was lying, that my dad was many things. Strict, distant, complicated, but not that. But then I remembered the way he flinched when I said, "H," and I felt like the floor dropped out from under me. "Who's H?" I asked. She shook her head. I don't know for sure. But if the drive says H, then that's your key. That's the leverage Adam had. That's why they killed him. I pulled out the flash drive. Can you open it? She glanced around nervously. Not here. Not on your laptop. You need someone who knows how to break into this kind of thing. But if you do, you can't stay here. What do you mean? I mean, once you open that file, they'll know. And then it won't matter who you trust. They'll come for you. I didn't answer. Couldn't. Because she was right. When I left the cafe, I felt like every shadow was watching me. Every car that passed could have been the black sedan. When I finally got home, I locked every door and window, shoved a chair under the handle, and sat in the dark with the diary in my lap. I still haven't opened the flash drive. I still don't know who H is. I don't know if Lena was telling the truth. I don't know if my dad really had anything to do with Adam's death, or if I'm just losing my mind. But I do know this. If Adam was right, if his death wasn't an accident, then I'm next. And if that's true, I don't know what to do. Do I keep digging? Do I open the drive and risk everything? Or do I burn it all and try to pretend none of this ever happened? Either way, I don't think I have much time left. And if this is the last thing I ever post, at least someone will know the truth.